NASCAR heading to Sonoma, California this week. It used to be Infineon Raceway, used to be Sears Point. Check out the full preview at RotoExperts.com right now with our Dan Dobish. But as he does for DraftKings every week, Sean Engel, 5-time tournament winner in DraftKings, comes on the Friday morning and helps us preview the race after a week off. Sean, I'm looking at this week's field. Kurt Busch is $10,700. But judging by the stats in the past performance, it looks like he's well worth it.
And indeed, Kurt Busch is. He has an average running position of about 9th with 7 top 5 finishes in 15 starts. That's a pretty incredible stat right there, and it shows he's one of the best at this track. And if his runner-up finish from last year is any indication, I think he should be started this week despite the high salary for sure.
What about Kevin Harvick? Should I spend $10,400 on it? Should our listeners? He's always up there, but he's never won at Sonoma.
Well, Sonoma is not one of Harvick's best tracks statistically. He has an average finish of 17th and 237 quality passes. He has some decent stats there, but I think his salary is way too high to ask based on past stats. I would avoid him and spend more money on Kurt Busch instead.
What about Jimmy Johnson at $10,100? He has the third best driver rating over the past 5 starts at this track.
Well, yeah. And actually, his driver rating of 101 is only second behind Kurt Busch. And Jimmy also has 9 top 10 finishes in 14 starts. Also a very impressive stat right there. And that's the main reason I also really like Jimmy this week. Great pick.
Now, of course, we'll prefacing this by saying these are good drivers to initially set in your lineup. Of course, you have to watch how qualifying and especially final practice plays out. That happy hour practice is always big, the good predictor. What about Kyle Busch? He's only 9,800. Could this be a Busch sort of event, especially with Kyle being the defending champion of this race?
I mean, Kyle Busch's stats have shown that his performance is a bit of a mixed bag. Like, he's finished well before, and when he does finish well, he finishes really well, but he's also had a history of finishing outside of the top 10 numerous times, as evidenced by his average running position of 19th. So I think he's more of a tournament play, if anything, but also be sure to watch his practice feeds and where he qualifies, too.
I'm looking at these DraftKings prices last night, and I'm like, wow, A.J. Allmendinger's $9,600. I don't think I've ever seen his salary that high that I can remember, but he's pretty good on the road courses.
Oh, yeah, he's known as one of the road course specialists after all. He has only 2 top 10 finishes and 24 fastest laps ran, which is the most of active drivers at Sonoma. And the thing about him is, he's put good runs together, but no good finishes to show for it. However, though, I do think that he is going to go against the stats this week and finally put together a run for a win. So I suggest using him this week.
Wow, you think A.J. Allmendinger's going to win this week, huh?
Or at least compete for a win. Be close.
All right. Joey Logano won at Watkins Glen last year, the other road course on the circuit. He's $9,500.
Yeah. Logano's stats also show that he's a fairly decent pick at Sonoma as well, and he would have a good chance of making the top 10. He's ran 52% of his laps in the top 15 and has an average finish of 14. He kind of shows through stats that he is one of the better picks around the salary range, so I kind of like him.
Martin Truex Jr. at 9,300 and Carl Edwards at 9,100. They're two guys that I think both of us like, but, all the drivers we talked about, we can't put everybody into the lineup.
Yeah, that's very true. And, I still like these two this week. I mean, Truex is a former winner with 52 fastest laps ran. And like Logano, pretty decent pick with good potential for a top 10 run. But I do like how Truex is a little bit cheaper than Logano, so he could be good to fill out some lineups with. And I could almost kind of say the same exact thing about Carl Edwards with his average finish of 16th. I think he's also a pretty good pick for this track as well, but also might be even a little bit better than Truex just because his salary is even cheaper than that.
But it's safe to say that of the all we talked about so far, that Kurt Busch and Allmendinger are your favorites, right?
Jimmy Johnson is also pretty high up there, too.
All right, so Kurt Busch, Jimmy Johnson, Allmendinger. Hey, here we go with Tony Stewart again, Sean. He's 8,900, and he's coming off his best start of the year. But every time I stick Tony Stewart in there, he disappoints me.
Yeah. Although the only thing is, though, is that Stewart actually has the stats that make him look like he's worth a look this week. He has 2 wins and 9 top 10s at Sonoma. And, yeah, he has been inconsistent over the past few seasons of Sprint Cup racing, but this is probably one of the best weeks to use him, since this is statistically one of his best tracks and one of his best chances to win a race this season. In fact, I would even go so far as to say I would use him this week.
Casey Kane also at 8,700. Somebody to consider. Matt Kenseth is only $7,600.
Yeah. To somebody that actually isn't as familiar with road course events, that might seem like a bit of a shock. But really, when you look at the big picture of his stats, he's never been much of a road racer with only 1 top 10 in all of his 16 Sonoma starts. So this could mean that he could be a potential sleeper if he does well in practice and qualifying. But apart from that, I wouldn't count on him being a great pick this week.
Ryan Blaney is also $7,200. Somebody to consider, especially if he looks good in practice. We have what we call road course aces, drivers that just come out for this race alone. Is Patrick Carpentier easily the best one at $6,000 and the only road course ringer you're considering using?
Well, I do think that out of all the road course specialists that are under that value or around that value, he's probably the best one to pick. I mean, the previous 2 times he started at Sonoma, he's finished better than where he started. And for $6,000, hey, can't go wrong with filling it out with a guy like Carpentier this week.
Yeah, and last one for you, Brian Scott's only $5,200.
Yeah, Brian Scott. But he's going to be making his Sprint Cup debut. And, it's kind of like a Ryan Blaney case. You don't know how well he's fully going to do this week. So I would really watch his practice speeds carefully before I would start him just for sure. But with a salary like that low of $5,200 for Brian Scott, it could make him appealing to fill out a lineup where you're going to try to use something like maybe a Kurt Busch, Jimmy Johnson, or Joey Logano lineup where you're front-loading with just top drivers, and then you could just have like a lower-priced guy round it all out.
All right, Sean Engel. Follow him at SeanMan247 for more of your fantasy NASCAR questions. Sean, thanks a lot. We'll enjoy the race Sunday, and you'll be enjoying Game of Thrones as always, I'm sure.
Of course. Season finale this time, too.
All right, Sean Engel. Check him out on Twitter and often on dailyroto.com. You'll see his preview every weekend.